Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session on building bug bounty programs in business to consumer companies. This is cybersecurity is one of the growing concerns in today's times, and bug bounty is probably the lowest hanging fruit in any organization to set up in order to be able to detect where the vulnerabilities are. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session on building bug. We're very privileged today to have with us Avinash Jain and Pradyumn Nand. Avinash is a product security person at Microsoft, and Pradyumn heads product security at OLX Autos. And what we'll be learning from them are their experiences back when these organizations were not necessarily at the kind of scale that they are today, in terms of how they went about setting out the bug bounty program. We hope that you will enjoy the session and participate in asking questions. Those who are on Zoom, you can put your questions in the Q&A tab, and you're welcome to put your questions as the presenters are presenting. The questions will be taken at the end of the presentation. For those of you who are on YouTube, we have shared a link on the hasgeek.com website page where you can put your questions and comments. With that, I will hand over the session to Avinash, who will then lead the proceedings from here. Thank you.
Hey everyone, good afternoon and thanks for tuning in. Also, thank you, Jenna, for setting up the platform and the agenda. It would save my time now to set the context. I will share the screen and we will quickly get into the topic. I hope my screen is visible.
Yeah, good to go.
Thanks, Pradyumn. Yeah. So, Jenna has already set the agenda here. We would be talking about how me and Pradyumn has set up bug bounty program in our organization. What was our experiences? How we move about from a very early stage to a mature state, and what was the learning that we had during that process. And we hope that you also learn from our experiences, the mistakes that we did also will impart some learnings to you in the next 30 to 60 minutes of session. Before I get into the topic, very small intro about myself. I am Avinash Jain, currently works with Microsoft as their product manager in identity security space. I own also a blogger over Medium with handle as Logic Bomb. I'm known to the social media world with handle as Logic Bomb. You can find me writing about various security topics related to DevSecOps, container security, or the vulnerabilities that I find in different platforms like Google, Yahoo, and various other bigger companies. Sorry for that. That was some shameless publicity of my blog. So you can have a look at my Medium blog with handle as Logic Bomb. This is one of the beautiful quote that I read from a book called Wisdom of Crowds by James Surowiecki. And this clearly defines what bug bounty program brings to you. The more people who have their eyes on a particular problem, the more likely they are able to find the right solution. And this is what the essence of bug bounty program is. Every now and then we hear that cyber risk is on rise, and which is true. Cyber threats are on rise. So does the number of attackers. And in a world where attackers have already outnumbered the number of defenders that we have to accept the fact that we have to live with that with it. While we live with them, we need to make sure that we are one step ahead of them. In a world where we are bounded by technologies, in a world where this highly complex system, there are frequent deployment happening with multiple dependencies and integration happening at the same time, it has become almost impossible to for an individual or for a particular team to test each and every use case or each and every potential issue within an application or within an asset, which makes pen testing obsolete, a slow process which is very much scoped to an individual capability or individual skill set. While bug bounty program not only add a layer of due diligence beyond the de facto of pen testing, which is run by a specific team of group of people, of individuals, but also it continuously assesses your application portfolios with independent assessors, with independent security researchers which are sitting out there, which provide their invaluable means of collaborating with the largest verbose security research community that is out there setting to help you, which is what brings the importance of harnessing the potential of the varied skill set that we have in the market among the expert hackers and the security researchers. And hence the bug bounty have already become a mainstream. It is, it is rightfully to say that bug bounty program has helped organization to step ahead of malicious attackers. If someone needs to define what is bug bounty programs in a single sentence, in some couple of words, you can say it is a crowdsourced testing. Having talked about the various benefits and pros that bug bounty brings, there's always another side of the coin. In the cost of launching bug bounty programs or harnessing the potential of the outside security community, what people forget is what problem or what challenges bug bounty program brings. Bug bounty, often increases the burden for your security team that runs the bug bounty program. In no time, you will find that they are they are getting burdened with under high amount of reports, whether they are low reports, out of scope bugs, or duplicate submissions. You will also find, there are always some discontented or unhappy hunters, which are never satisfied, maybe due to different reasons of payout or maybe some other reasons. And it always becomes difficult to keep these security researchers or bug bounty hunters happy all the time. Who in rage can make the bug public. They can even write a blog, publish it before fixing it, or disclose it without any kind of approval. And all of this also makes life for your developers hard, because now they are burdened with a lot of vulnerabilities to fix. There was already hundred of things that they need to work. Now there are 10 new bugs that they need to fix. So in short, bug bounty, in a hindsight, also brings a lot of challenges and a lot of problem, not just to security, but also to the complete supply chain here. By managing a bug bounty program is not only puts your technical skill to task, but it also put non-technical skills to the task. There are a couple of we talked about what are the pros of bug bounty program and what are the challenges that bug bounty program can bring. Here now I would like to talk about when you should not be launching your bug bounty program. The first pointer here, weak vulnerability management process. If you have a weak vulnerability management process, never think about launching your own bug bounty program, because you don't want your bugs living in your platform for ages. You want those vulnerabilities to be fixed as and when they are highlighted by the outside hack or reported by hunters. You should be having a strong complete end-to-end vulnerability management process, whether it is vulnerability classification, prioritization, from triaging to remediation, everything. Insecure app state. You don't want to go with all your crown jewels hanging on the door of your application and inviting hackers to loot you. You always want to go with a secure state of your application or of your asset, so that you do not unnecessarily invite hackers to distribute bounty to them. The third, and also one of the most important, buy-in from management. To put it bluntly, if you don't have any buy-in from management for a bug bounty program, then there's a very little value in spending the time and effort and the money to set up the complete program. That will likely to fail because you don't have a chance to go, because your management has already declined. And it is very always hard to demonstrate the good value that bug bounty program brings. You need to first bring the value for money out of launching the bug bounty program to your management, in order to convince them. Preparation and timings are the key building blocks. Timing, in the previous slide, it was something related to timing, when to launch and when not to launch. The another key aspect about launching a bug bounty program is preparation. There's a lot of preparation goes behind launching a bug bounty program, setting up it, and finally, taking it to the public platform, or making it to the internet. Just like any other security program, just like any other, maybe it could be any non-tech or tech program. For anything that you launch, you need to have some hard preparation done. And similar to bug bounty program, you need to have thorough preparation done before launching your bug bounty program. Now, what we did at Blinkit, I think when we launched bug bounty program in Blinkit, we were one of the fewest organization in India when it comes to startup who had their public bug bounty program. And you can see the title. It was not so initial block because before that we set up our vulnerability management process. We hardened that. We streamlined the complete vulnerability management process before we went ahead and thought about bug bounty program. The first step that we did was fixing all the security bugs that we had in the system, not just low hanging bugs, but all the P0, P1 critical bugs which can be exploited in a large manner. Because we never wanted that we go with a half-baked cake on the internet and people just loot the bugs and they come and reporting those bugs to us. The second, strong security community bond. I think we were the first company, or not we, but we organized the first ever HackerOne meetup in India, which held at Grofers office. Why we did that? Because we wanted to develop a strong community bond with the security community. We wanted to have that strong bond with them. We wanted to develop that networking with them so that we can leverage their potential in order to help each other. Beyond that, we also organized private program. We reach out to different hackers in India and outside India. We invited them to hack into our systems through our private invite, and then we also rewarded them with some goodies or some cash reward also. What we learned through the initial phase was that the age of people who are getting interested into bug bounty platform is quite low, and those age group people are always attracted towards some electronic gadgets, stickers, hoodies, and having such kind of goodies. So we came up with having all those gadgets and goodies stored in our backlog, and we started distributing it to all the bug bounty hunters who reported valid bugs to us. The third thing was having multiple internal and external pen tests. We carried out multiple internal pen testing. We also onboarded an external vendor to carry out a pen test on our platform. Again, for the same reason, we didn't want to go with an half-baked cake. We want to go with a fully secured app whenever we were deciding to go with bug bounty program. The fourth step, setting up a security page, because it will be the front door for the bug bounty hunters or for the InfoSec community to come to know that you have a bug bounty program, how to report, when to report, what are the bugs which are out of scope, what is a reward criteria. Having all those details set up in the page clearly and concisely. What we learned also is that we need to be more transparent with the InfoSec community, with the bug bounty hunters or security researcher, and we keep on updating all the guidelines, all the out of scope bugs, duplicate bugs, the criteria for reward on our page at the real time. The another thing that we did was we created a Hall of Fame page. As I said, that the age group which are getting attracted towards bug bounty, the bug bounty program were always attracted towards those shiny things. something that they can show off. It could be certificate, it could be having their name on our website, it could be goodies or hoodies, whatever, the thing that I told in the past slide also. So we came up with the Hall of Fame list, where we put the name of bug bounty hunters who reported valid bugs to us, and which always and it works two ways. It not only motivated the hackers, having those Hall of Fame of their name in the website, but it also gave us the brand. How? Because now those hackers, now those bug bounty hunters were sharing those credentials, sharing those certificates, sharing the Hall of Fame screenshot over Twitter or LinkedIn or over other social media platform, which directly or indirectly branded our bug bounty program. It also branded our company as a business. So we started getting more eyes, and more security researcher started participating in our bug bounty program. And also, once you get all those more eyes, you also can easily post them. So there's always a possibility of hiring good talent. The other set of things that we did while preparing uh, for the bug bounty program was fast triaging workflow. Because I have been there on the both side. I've been a bug bounty hunter also, and I've been also someone who set up bug bounty program. What I learned from that, the other side of experience, was bug bounty hunters don't want to wait. They are in a very impatient state, and we demanded a very fast training workflow, keeping the security researchers up to date at every single point, at every stage of the bug. For that, we came up with very different kind of automation, different labels which helped us in triaging the bug, different integration of security bugs to our bug tracking system. So we came up with all those kind of automation to make, in order to make sure that the security community, the bug bounty hunters are getting updated at the real time about the status of their bug. And we don't want to, as I said, we don't want them to wait for weeks and weeks without any update. So we came up with different technology advancement, automation to get the complete triaging workflow work in a very accurate and fast manner. The second point, the response to the security researchers. What we also learned is that this security researchers, because they are at a very early age, they because they do not belong to corporate world, their tone of communicating may get a little hard, but somehow they don't want to convey their message. So we understood their sentiments, and we came up with different different response template, where we have the template ready. We don't need to write the whole message again and again, and we could send those template to the security researchers on the basis of what it demands. We also took care that this response should be very clear, fast, and accurate. The time to acknowledge the first bug that being reported by a bug bounty hunter should be very fast. As I said, we never wanted them to be waited without any acknowledgement mail, just thinking what happened to their bug. So we came up with different strategies to make sure that security researchers are updated, and they are updated on a regular basis. Cross-team collaboration. Now, many people think that running a bug bounty program just include your security team to work, or maybe just one developer to fix a bug. But bug bounty program involves multiple teams. It is a complete supply chain in your company. It includes the procurement team who can get the goodies out and sent to the address of bug bounty hunters. It involves legal team if there's some NDAs to be signed or to be reviewed, or any policies to be tweaked. It involves triaging team to triage the bugs on time and assign it to a particular QA or tester on a regular basis. And obviously it involves developers to fix the bug. So it involves the cross team collaboration. We over the period of time we got to a mature state where all those teams work as a single work as a single team, and they know what to function at what time and whom to reach out, and this complete supply chain process got streamlined and improved over a period of time. It didn't happen in a single day, but it happened over a period of time when we learned that what all is necessary to get the complete bug bounty program fast, improve and a fasten up process. There are some of the questions which people have asked before. One of them is, why didn't you go for a managed bug bounty platform? The answer to this question was simple to us, that we didn't have much budget. When we went ahead with our bug bounty program, at that time we had a very little budget. And apart from budget, the second thing was the number of reports that we were getting was not too much. We always thought that we could manage those reports, we could price them, we could work with the bug bounty hunters, in-house. So we never felt that need of going to the bug bounty platform until unless we found that number of reports are growing, we are not able to manage it, and we could utilize our in-house resources to a better, to some other projects or to some other work. That's the reason we didn't go for a bug bounty platforms. And also going to those bug bounty platform requires a good amount of budget. So budget was also something which was considered when we took this decision. If you had gone for cash reward, you would have gained a lot of more quality hackers and bugs, your views. Yes. So and that is what we thought. Initially we went ahead with goodies, with gadgets as a bug bounty reward to the bug bounty hunters. Over a period of time, what we realized that the good hackers, the elite hackers, are not convinced or not they don't need these gadgets, because they have already gained this in their past. What they want is the real cash. And then we modified our bug bounty policy, we modified our reward structure, and then we came up with cash reward for only the bugs who has the highest priority, who has the high, who are the most critical bug for us. Again, due to budget constraint, we couldn't go and distribute cash reward to each and every bug. We created a reward structure where we bucket the bugs on the basis of their criticality, and then we reward them. If they fall into a P0 bucket, then there is always a cash reward for them, while for other P1 or P2 or P3, we came up with different reward structure of goodies or gadgets or some other items. What learning you had over this period? So I think from the time we launched the bug bounty platform, and I think to more than a year or so, there are a lot of things that we learned over the period of time. The first thing that we learned, no matter how diligent and mature your strategies are, how secure your systems are, there will always be an equal talented advisory sitting out there who are ready to dig into your systems. And we as an early startup, people think that what they are doing is best, or maybe suffice their current structure, current state. But as we said, security is a myth. We cannot attain the highest level of security. If you have seen those ads where Colgate shows that it gets 99.99% jumps and leaves 2-3 jumps behind in the advertisement, they also do not take a guarantee that it gets 100% jumps. Similarly here, nothing is 100% secure. There's always an improvement. The systems cannot be 100% secure. Your application cannot be 100% secure. And that's where you come up and harness the potential of the bug bounty hunter market. That was the first learning that we had over this past so many years. The other was your external response. How you respond to your hackers means a lot. How you respond to hackers build your relationship with those hackers. Hackers can ruin your business. They can even make your business. They the technology and security services or security uh, technical skill set has become so versatile that you cannot uh, fully depend on your internal pen testers. You need to harness those potential, and at that time you need to make sure that you have a good bonding, you have a good community engagement with the hackers, with the security community, and which directly and indirectly get impacted by how you respond them. And this is what happened with us. I clearly remember uh, there was a bug bounty hunter who reported a bug to us, and it was a duplicate bug, and we couldn't reward it because it was a duplicate bug and it was out of scope. And it happens to every bug bounty hunter, once, if they are, because they spend a lot of effort and at the end they find that their bug is duplicate, it always demotivate them, it will always make them anger. And the same happened with this particular person, who in rage went to our public blog of our bug bounty platform, which was written by our CTO, and he started expressing his anger over the blog. And at that time we understood that we need to sympathize with them, we need to understand their sentiments. I've been at that state where I also felt the same emotions, having spent night and night on a bug, and at the end finding that that bug is a duplicate is always a disheartening experience to any bug bounty hunter. So what we understood that we need to come up with some strategies which can keep our hackers happy. But again, we cannot keep everyone happy. We cannot keep every hacker happy at every point of time. So we need to take that balance, and response, as I said, plays a critical role. How you respond to those hackers, in what tone. You need to be on ground. You need to be humble while you respond and while you communicate to those hackers. I think, yeah, that's it from my side. Any questions are most welcome here.
Thank you, Avinash. Pradyumn, do you want to start with your remarks to Avinash, and then we'll collate the questions meanwhile?
Absolutely. Thanks, Avinash, for that wonderful talk. I think you covered the breadth and depth of setting up a bug bounty program very well. And I think a lot of people in the audience would have, understood and related to the discourse that was just presented to them. I had a few questions in the interest and the general benefit of the viewers. One was around the budgeting. So I think a lot of people who are listening to us today would be interested in knowing how to pitch or how to estimate a budget for your bug bounty program. And is it something that, always is allocated by the management, or is it something that you can estimate on your own and then present to the management for approval?
Yeah, fair question. So when we came up with our budget strategies, obviously budget for us at that time was a very hard thing to get out of our business. Why? Because you need to come up with the goodness of bug bounty program and showcase that towards to your management. And until unless you do not run it on a live, you will not able to get what it brings to you.
Right.
Once we had once we had some idea that it will be costing around this much, but again, bug bounty budgets are always dynamic. In a month you can get 2 reports, but again in the same month you can get 10 reports, or maybe you can get reports, but again those are P0 cases. So we always kept a range of budget. We didn't never went with a specific limit, but we always went with a range that it will cost from X to Y to our management, and then we had that budget approval. If you go with a budget saying that this is a maximum limit or this is a minimum limit that I get, you have no one will be able to procure you those budget, because you yourself don't have the estimate.
Right.
So we try to understand our security community, how at what rate we were getting the reports, how many reports were we getting in a week, and then we estimated from that how much it will cost us for the over the period of maybe 2 quarters or 3 quarters, and then we came up with a range. and this is how, and that is how we decide on the budget range. Yeah.
Great. I think it's best to have like a sliding budget between the different components of your overall security budget, so that you can move in some cash in and out of other programs that you're running for security, and maybe you utilize it for bug bounty if and wherever it's needed. Yeah, that really makes sense. Another thought that came to my mind, and someone who has run a bug bounty program might also be, having this experience of a rogue bug bounty hunter trying to exploit the bug themselves for their benefit before actually disclosing it. So, in your experience, has there been any such instance, and if so, how were you able to detect and manage?
Yeah, yeah. So, as I said, there were two key elements when you go with a bug bounty program. First was preparation, and it comes under preparation.
Okay.
Because now you are going with a full, your application or with your asset and scope to the public platform, saying that come and find bugs on our platform. We always had different tools, services, and automation running, which made sure that there's no hacker who are doing something which are out of scope or which are invalid for us. For example, running a scanner, or running a DOS script on the platform, or running a Python script on the platform.
Right.
So we have all those, but those are basic cases. We came up with different cases targeting different domain. When I say domain, it could be cloud, it is your application or network, and then we come up with different edge cases and try to find out how an hacker can leverage those out of band bugs which are not valid for us, and how they can take advantage of it. And once we get to know that maybe from this IP or from this credentials, something is happening which is not valid for us, we go
Right.
and block those. And also we came up we also experienced various hunters who come and kind of threat you that they will make the bug public if you do not give them money, kind of ransom thing.
Right.
And
Intimidate.
I think this happened a lot in bug bounty community, because on the internet no one's know each other, there are no physical faces, so
Yeah.
everyone think that coming up with a anonymous ID can prevent them. But on that page, we always had our legal team running behind. We always had our legal policies on our platform, which at least can save us from or maybe uh, uh, you know bring those legal teams onto the platform if something like that happens. So we had that all wall covers, and but again, these things are very common when you run a bug bounty program. You will get some kind of threatening from bug bounty hunters. You will get some kind of some kind of disclosures without any approval on public platform, and this is something which you cannot run away.
Perfect. Thank you so much for answering those questions. Nothing more from my end, Zainab. I think there's a question from the audience has been posted in the chat.
Yeah, I think you can take that question. There are two questions. You could either take both of them now, or maybe you can take them after your presentation so that both of you can address these.
Sure. I think I'll, in the interest of time, first start away with the presentation, and then we can have a Q&A commonly at the end. Make sense?
Yes.
Sure. Let me just share my screen. And a very good afternoon to everyone who's tuned in. So I think while Avinash has been kind enough to cover almost everything that there is to setting up a bug bounty program, I'll try to complement with what I know and what I have experience and learned from setting up these programs at MakeMyTrip and then at OLX Autos. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. To begin with, I was actually a Android software engineer who was always interested in security. So by luck of fate, I switched my job profile and I started working for security at MakeMyTrip and then at OLX Autos. So being a programmer, I've always loved to build security tools, frameworks, and I like to automate my work as much as possible. And yeah, always keen to learn and to make something new. So that's a bit about myself. The first challenge to setting up any such program, particularly a bug bounty program, is to change your mindset, because often the first roadblock to setting up a bug bounty program is a mindset that is not comfortable with opening up your application, your assets, your inventory, your ecosystem to public, as Avinash rightly pointed out. So to have that change, one must think aloud on the lines of, what if you get exploited by a bug that could have been caught through your bug bounty program. And I mean, it's a small cost when you pay a bug bounty hunter to find a bug from that program. And but if it gets exploited in the wild, if somebody, let's say, so I've worked in e-coms, and I see that payment bypasses, or maybe credential stuffing, or inventory hijacking. These are like some of the worst nightmares that an e-com security can have. So if any of that happens, the damage could be 10 to 100,000 times more than what you would end up paying a bug bounty hunter. And this openness to improve your security posture builds a positive brand image. So like Avinash had a HackerOne conference in his Blinkit office that actually highlights your company's, your organization's image as one that takes its security very seriously, and that would really want to improve upon its posture continuously. So the security community, we all know, is very tight knit. So that word spreads around very quickly, and the ROI of your program depends a lot on how well the community is responding to it. So more the hackers, the better the quality of the hackers, the better is the return on your investment on the bug bounty program. So a few pointers that can help change the mindset is very helpful when you are starting up with this initiative. Now, to judge your own readiness for a bug bounty, you should be very thorough with your own assessments of your application, of your infrastructure, and that includes getting it pen tested from your own team, from a third party hire, or maybe a red teamer who are good at figuring out these critical P0s, P1s, even P2s, and getting them fixed before you even try to open up to the public and invite them to find bugs. Again, budget and scope are two very critical things, because without a proper budget, because bug bounty is an incentive driven program. So either the incentive has to be remuneration, money, or it has to be recognition, but that sort of recognition is not always something that a hunter is going to go after, unless it's a very big tech giant. So in that case, even recognition works. So you need to have these very clearly established. The processes, and by processes, I mean how will a bug be evaluated, triaged, and what all teams are going to be involved, and who's going to take responsibility of what. So all of that should be clearly defined when before starting up with a program. And scoping your program would essentially mean telling the bug bounty hunters that what is within the limits and what is off limits. So if something is off limits, you don't want to have any submissions on those, because those are really going to waste your time. So once you establish a scope, you are defining boundaries within which you want the bug hunter to operate, and that is going to help you save a lot of time and a lot of manpower evaluating bugs that are out of scope. Next is MTTI, MTTI, and MTTR. So this is basically mean times to inventory, acknowledge, and respond So as soon as you receive a bug, you should be able to triage it and assign it to the right team if it's valid. You should be able to acknowledge quickly once you have triaged and assigned the bug, and uh, having an internal agreement in your organization that maybe for a Sev 1 or a Sev 0 bug, you're gonna take X number of hours or days. That is absolutely essential, because bug bounty hunters, as Avinash told, they are very impatient, and we have seen a lot of them, quickly escalating things, even when there is the slightest of the delay. So you would want to have an MTTR that is really non-negotiable with any of the teams, even if, let's say, they are doing priority projects. If a Sev 0 bug bounty bug comes in, you would want some of them to drop off what they're doing and fix the bug first, because this is a security issue that is not just known to you, but to someone who is outside the organization and who's not really liable to be, controlled by your ways of working. So they might just go and publicly disclose it. They might try to shame you. They might try to even exploit it or sell it off in the dark web. So there could be a lot of things that can go wrong, and we would not want those to happen. And lastly, if you're trying to go for a managed bug bounty program, then you need to go and evaluate your vendors and see, which one suits your organization's needs the best. So these are some of the prepping steps that you need to do. Now, I'll try and describe the tech stack that we had at MMT for the bug bounty. So one on the front, the front end of it was a submission page on our website, and folks can have it on their apps as well, if they're heavily investing into the app side of the bug bounty program. So that allows the hackers to submit their bugs and findings very easily, and they can get an acknowledgement and sort of an ID along with it, through which they can track their submission. And we used a ticketing application in the backend. For us, it was Jira. It could be anything that you are using. It could be ServiceNow. It could be any other ticketing system. So yeah, as soon as the bug gets published in the ticketing application, we are able to pick that up, assign it to the triaging team, and see if it is valid. If it is valid, then we reassign the bug to the correct owner of the correct engineering owner who's supposed to be fixing that bug. And at the same time, what we did was we built a sort of a emailing framework that can automate sending out emails to the bug bounty hunters. So every once in a day, it will scan through all the open bugs, and it will see the status of that bug and how far has it been fixed. So you can automate those emails using templates like Avinash was talking about. So you can send out an email to the hunter saying that your bug has been acknowledged. Now it has been assigned to the relevant team. They are on the fix. When it moves to the testing stage, you can update him that we are finalizing the fix of the bug, we are validating it. And once the finance approves the payout, you can even automate that by letting know the bug bounty hunter the amount. So all of this was very necessary when the volume of the bugs arises and you are not able to handle it on a one-on-one email basis. So you would want to move away from all of that emailing and communication stuff as much as possible, and try and use code or maybe frameworks like these to make your work easier. Talking about OLX versus MMT. So OLX had a very different strategy towards bug bounty. So we're using Bugcrowd here. There's a lot of vendors in the market like Integrity, HackerOne, Bugbase, and there are many more now in the market that offer managed bug bounty services. But we chose Bugcrowd because it's probably the largest. It's a very mature platform. Considerations that we took in while choosing Bugcrowd was how much capital are we going to invest in and what's our ROI going to be, how mature is the platform, and how adaptable it is to suit the needs of our organization. And of course, we did some peer reviews with before we went on and choose Buckrout. How it has helped is that it has improved our signal to noise ratio. There's a lot of duplicates and invalids that are filtered out by the Buckrout team themselves. So Buckrout acts as an intermediary between the hackers and ourselves. So whatever bugs are submitted are first evaluated and triaged by the Buckrout team in accordance with the scope of what we have given to them. If it's a valid bug, they'll forward that to us and they'll log it onto our ticketing platform. If it's not a valid bug, then they'll communicate back to the hacker without us getting unnecessarily involved in that entire process. So that's a big help, and that is essentially one major advantage of having a managed program versus building something in-house, that you don't have to employ a lot of people in managing your bug bounty programs. The reward system that we follow is a point-based reward system, although there are cash-based reward systems as well offered by Buckrout platform. So you can choose either of them, however, and whatever is comfortable or suitable to the organization. And in the end, it is the bug bounty hunter who has to be incentivized with whatever sort of reward system that you have. If you feel that a monetary reward system would work best, you can choose that. Or if you see that a point-based reward system could also do good, then you have that option as well there. Now, when we try and contrast the two ways of setting up bug bounty programs, you need to think of whether you want to prioritize investing capital or investing the manpower, people. So with managed bug bounty program, it would be capital intensive, and with an in-house sort of a bug bounty program, it would be people intensive. So I mean, it's just which way do you want to go? That'll be the way that you would eventually end up setting up the program. And the way we also see managed bug bounty programs is that there's a lot less stakeholder and payout management, which is quite high when you do it in-house. So you have to manage the payouts, you have to track them, you have to see if the payments are reaching there on time, and you have to communicate constantly back and forth to the bug bounty hunter, because otherwise they would see your program in a bad light. And sometimes like building frameworks to automate all of this stuff, you need to be sure that you have the right set of tech capabilities to do it. And when you try and look at what is your maturity goal for the program, I mean, how let's say, how mature would you want to see it down the line? And would it be easier if you do it in-house, or would it be easier if you go with a managed bug bounty program? So that will help you also take a decision rightfully. And the last consideration is that how much visibility does your program actually need? So let's say if your program needs to go public and it needs to global on a very good scale, then a managed bug bounty program will definitely be helpful, because that's already a platform that's being used and being visited by a lot of bug bounty hunters. So once your program launches on that platform, it will automatically gain some eyeballs. It would have good traction very quickly in the initial days, versus something that you want to take a bit slow. So you can do an in-house one and publicize it as long, as you move along your journey. So that these are the considerations that you can take while you're trying to decide between going in-house versus going managed. Some experiences that I wanted to share out of what I've learned and seen in my work at MakeMyTrip and OLX is that one, we have to acknowledge bounty hunters, but not bullies. We have to tackle them very diplomatically. I think Avinash was also sharing some anecdotes of his own where people try to intimidate you by threatening to go public, by threatening to abuse it, sell it in the dark market. So one has to be very tactful while dealing with such people, because at the end of the day, it's you who are going to be a loser if something goes sideways. So be very cautious about that. Severity is often overhyped by the hunter. So one must look at the bug very objectively before assigning it a severity, because all your payouts and all the remediation processes will kick off in accordance with the severity. If it's a P2, I might not pick it up for a week. If it's a P0, I might have to fix it within 24 hours. So that's how varied it could be. But at the same time, make sure that if it's a critical bug, then you have to treat it like a critical bug, and you have to make sure that your engineering and your management are aligned with the fact that if something that is a publicly known, self-zero bug, it has to be fixed with a very short frame of time, so that nothing gets exploited or abused. So that's very important. And then often we have seen that that the young folks, they are not just after money, they are also after recognition, because that helps them build their own career as a bug bounty hunter, as as a freelance pen tester. So if you put their names on a Hall of Fame, if you send them out an appreciation letter, if you publicly acknowledge their findings and appreciate and thank them for that, that's also very helpful in spreading out the good word about your program. And we've often seen that people try to skirt around the boundary of the scope. They are trying to sneak into that scope by saying that, hey, the scope says this, but I interpret it as some XYZ, so I think my bug is valid. So you have to be very crystal clear when you're scoping out your program, and you have to be very definitive with communicating a bug bounty hunter of what is in scope and what is out of scope. And if it is something out of scope, even if it is severe, you can acknowledge him, you can recognize that bug, but you have to simply deny it, admitting it into the bug bounty program, because then you will be liable for payout, and you will be violating your own set of boundaries. So don't do that. You can acknowledge and still fix the bug, but don't admit it into the program. That's what we learned. And if you're going international, you should make sure that your payout systems are well capable of handling wire transfers or PayPal. So we have seen instances where people from Europe or from Latin American countries have submitted bugs, and the banking systems don't communicate that well. So we need to just make sure that to have smoother payments, you should have that sort of setup ready. So that's just my 2 cents of what I learned while managing these programs. I think there was a question around handling executive buy-in. I have some pointers that helped us. That's not going to be entirely true for everybody in every case, but yes, the management does buy numbers, data, and if there's a definitive return on investment projected to them, now that's the job that we need to understand, that how do we convert something as abstract as a bug bounty program into an ROI kind of thing. So we have to come up with the data, with whatever we have, and present it in a way that clicks with the management. So that's one. And a question to pitch to the management is that how do you calculate the risk of not doing something? So even with the management, they would be aware of these big data breaches that have been happening every quarter or so. So I mean, and nobody wants to be the next XYZ company that gets breached and it becomes extremely public, because then the reputation, the brand valuation all goes down. It's not just because of that one vulnerability. It's a lot of damage that happens. So you would not want the management to take this lightly. And I mean, it's not the best way to deal with management, because a positive reinforcement with numbers and data is always going to do good. But when you're operating in the domain of security, you would know the consequences of not doing something can be very impactful, and you would want to highlight that at some point of time. And if going with a public or a managed bug bounty program sounds too much to them, I mean, one can pitch with a very small scale private bug bounty program, and to make them comfortable with the idea of having someone else discover bugs and hacks into the environment. And once they are fully onboarded, one can go ahead and take the next big step. So these are some of the ways in which the management can be convinced. Obviously, there's a lot more, and it is completely contextual with every organization. But yeah, that's what I think can work in some of these situations. And that's all that I had, folks. So thank you. And I think now we can move on to the Q&A section. Zainab, I'm sure there's a few questions waiting for us right now.
Yes, the one question that's been posted right now is that has there been an instance that a bug bounty has not delivered the desired outcomes and results? How does this land with the sponsors?
Okay. So I think the ROI or the outcome of a bug bounty program will probably take some time to reflect and to be considerable with the sponsors or with the management who are actually putting companies' money into the program. And I think in at least in whatever programs I have run, the management has been considerate, because we have been able to gradually show the quality of the bugs and the impact that we have had by fixing those bugs in time. So that, in my opinion, in my experience, I've not yet seen a bug bounty program that has gone that's been dead. But I think Avinash could probably comment on it a bit more.
Yeah, I think as you said, and also as you explained in your one of the slides, that metrics and data is something which can convince your management. And this is what I have also experienced. Your metrics, your data, those numbers speaks up the volume, and they can tell the management what was the state earlier, what was the state now when after you launched the bug bounty program. And obviously those numbers are convincing. Not even management can deny going with or maybe scaling up with a bounty program.
Right. And even if the program slows down for some period of time, as we saw in times of unrest, in times of economical instabilities where businesses went down terribly. So the program might have to take a pause, but there are ways to re-incentivize it. You can start posting about your program in security communities and forums to revive it. And it's just a matter of time before fresh set of eyes land up on your environment, and they start hunting for bugs again. So there's never been a time where you could confidently say that there's a stream of bugs or findings coming in continuously. It's more of an intermittent kind of a volume of bugs that comes in. But you just have to be proactive in publicizing about your own program on different forums and communities.
Thanks. The question about leadership buy-in seems to have a follow-up question, which is that let's just see. Yeah. What are the tips for developers to communicate security needs to management, especially when security is not at the core of the business?
All right. I'd rather flip the question and ask the developers or the engineering community themselves that why do they need a buy-in from the management to fix security at the application layer. So that is a responsibility, I think, which is a shared one. And I think Avinash would agree that, if engineering and developers, take on the responsibility of finding time to fix these bugs. And I know that, program managers often try to sideline security issues for the farthest time and for the longest time as possible. But if something like security is baked into the heart of the application, we would not have so many bugs or findings in the first place. So it's it has to be very zealous and a very proactive response by the engineering and the developer teams themselves to be self-prioritizing these bugs, rather than convincing the management, because the management at the end of the day would be convinced by business numbers, but security for all reasons looks to them like a non-functional requirement until something bad happens. So it's probably a very collaborative and a shared effort by all the engineers and the developers to fix security. That's my take on it. Avinash, I'm happy to hear your thoughts.
I think you pretty much sums up the answer as well. And I think this also another side of this question where developers wants to know how they can they communicate their security needs to the management if the security is not their bread and butter. And I think this has I have gone through that. I've been a developer at the starting of my career, and what I found that obviously though we talked about the numbers, metrics, all those data which speaks of the volume. The other thing is also how bringing security tooling and services can save your time, which you are now which you are later spending at the end state. Those if you start integrating security within your SDLCs at different stages, the cumulative time and the cumulative effort that now you will be spending will be quite less when you are doing security testing at the end. And that is how developer can even come up with those juicy graphs to show to the management that before, when security was an afterthought, what was the rate of various bugs that they were getting, what was the effort and time that it was consuming, and now what are the numbers. I think so those comparison can not just can, but I think will definitely bring management attention towards security.
A way to pitch this is having I mean an application tracked right from its birth, from its design phase to the time it's deployed, and then maybe looking at it after 6 months, 9 months, and year, and see if security has been baked in right from the design phase to the development to testing and to deployment. We did this exercise with one of the newer products that we had at MMT, and we were proudly able to showcase that there was zero pre-production bugs even after an year of deployment, because we started with security in mind right from the design phase itself. So that's I think the biggest way to have management buy-in, that when you start considering security from the early stages of the SDLC, you're going to have a product that's really impenetrable.
Thanks. I think this was fairly insightful. The other question that's come up is slightly broader, which is that ops, which is DevOps and DevSecOps, how are these teams dealing with cross-functional requirements, specifically business objectives, and then the need to keep everything on an even keel?
That's a pretty broad question.
Yeah, I think this requires a discussion in itself, but I suppose if you have insights to pepper, then that would probably help us to lead into a future conversation.
I think it's a very long drawn out process, and it has to be taken up in a very phased sort of a manner. So, and where you address your critical priorities and your communication gaps first, where for something as because DevSecOps is frankly it's a charter, and it's a journey on its own. So I'll be happy to take that question, maybe, in a different forum where probably, the theme for the forum is DevSecOps. But I think it's a very valid concern in today's age where, the lines between DevOps and SecOps are blurring. I think e-coms mostly are operating with a very limited set of people who have to be, like a Swiss Army knife, and they have to have multiple skill sets. But yeah, I think this begs more time than probably what we have today.
Avinash, you have any comments on this?
Yeah, I think when I already read that question and I thought how it is coming in a bug bounty program session, it is more aligned to DevSecOps, and when we talk about DevSecOps or DevOps, SecOps, all these are our process, our journey, as Pradyumn rightly said, how a DevOps team align with SecOps, and how the complete journey from developing an app to getting deployed over the production and running it, what all happens in between is the part of this complete journey. And there are broader challenges which it brings with it. It is not a just straightforward thing that you just switch on and switch off. It is a whole new journey. The complete paradigm of your infrastructure and of your SDLC model has changed. I think it's best suited when, if you talk about maybe in some other session or conference where we talk about specifically to DevSecOps, or maybe how one can reach out to a mature state in DevOps, or how that effective collaboration can happen between a DevOps and SecOps team.
Thanks, Avinash. Pradyumn, that's a good one. All right. I think the last question that we can take for today, and then all the other questions we can take on the Hasgeek website, which is that if, given your current experience, what would you do differently if you had to start a bug bounty program all over again? Or maybe I can add a sort of a sub question to that, which is like, what is the advice that you would give to the younger folks out there now that you've been there and done that?
I think, yeah. I think for me, when we set up bug bounty program in previous or at that time we didn't have much budget, and considering if I given a chance to revamp or maybe come up with some different things which I couldn't do earlier, would be you know uh, revamping the reward structure, because with limited budget you come with limited reward structure, which attract limited set of attackers. You cannot reach to those elite group of hackers with small bug bounty payment amounts. The other thing, I would be considering moving to a managed bug bounty program, because there you get those verified hackers. There you get those top cream of bug bounty hunters always looking for different programs, and you obviously you will now have more talented people to work with, and you will find more more critical bug than you are finding with the set of people. uh, the one advice that I think I could give people who are starting with the bug bounty program is preparation is the key. Do not just be in the race of launching bug bounty program in haste. For us, it took more than a year or so to reach to a state where we were ready to launch a bug bounty program. Launching a bug bounty program doesn't need not only just need having a security page and with some guidelines and scope, but it need a set of preparation of setting up your complete vulnerability management process, reaching to a very not very but a good mature state of security of your application or of your domains. So do not run in a race of launching a bug bounty program. Start with stepping stone. Security is always like a building a room. You build it rock by rock. So take one step ahead, set up your streamline your bug bounty process, sorry, vulnerability management process. Then go about your supply chain, And then when you see that you are at a good state of secure state, there you can think about launching a bug bounty program. And it's always good to go with a private program first, then going with a public program. Over to you, Pradyumn.
I think you pretty much summarized what I had in mind, because from my experience at MMT, I realized that managed bug bounty program gives you greater visibility, and with good visibility comes in better findings, and also a more managed way of approaching this process. So moving to a managed platform has its own advantages, but yes, it would involve a a more capital investment that you would want, and you would have to convince your management to do that. So that's something that you'll have to consider. Something that I would have done if I had started from the scratch again would be to have a very strong auditing and logging platform to detect abuse of the bugs reported, because we have found a few instances where things should not have been exploited by the bounty hunters themselves, and we came to know after the payout was done, and that was because of we did not have the proper visibility and auditing. So in those instances we should be banning, or basically banning the bounty hunter from our platform. And so yeah, that's one consideration, which is very a strong auditing and logging framework in place before you kick off this program. Otherwise you will never know who's gone and done what and what now.
Great. Thank you so much, Avinash and Pradyumn. This was a very, very good session. For those who have missed the session, the videos of the session will be up tomorrow. So you can take a look at that. You can post your comments to Pradyumn and to Avinash. They're both part of the RootConf community. And coming up next on RootConf, in the middle of February, we will have 3 women who will share their InfoSec journeys and also talk about the emerging trends in the area of InfoSec and security engineering. We also have a session on the 13th of February with Prathamesh Sonpatki on the costs of instrumentation, where Prathamesh is going to bring in some very interesting arguments about instrumentation being a liability. So stay tuned and watch out for more. You can be part of the RootConf community by following RootConf on hasgeek.com/RootConf. Thank you very much and have a very good evening. Thank you, Avinash. Thank you, Pradyumn.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Anna. Have a
See
good
you.
day.